All right, what's happening? What's happening, guys? Happy Friday to you. It is Friday, March 4th, 2022. This morning, we're going to talk a little bit about what I was just doing. Well, I'm a couple of minutes late here, and that is the importance of building relationships. Relationships are everything in your life. They are going to speed up or slow down every single thing that you do. And so your ability to build relationships is going to determine your future. It really does. And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how to do it, how not to do it, and all of the benefits that come through building the right relationships. Let's get started. It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up. All right, what's happening, guys? Happy Friday to you. Hope you guys are having an awesome morning. Man, my morning is off to a rocking start, man. I'm a little late jumping on here because I was on the phone with somebody pretty important in my life, a person who's become a great friend and somebody that I will be doing business with here in the near future. And I was talking with her about a bunch of important things. And so I'm a little late for you guys, but I think it's a good example of the importance of relationships. And when you get an opportunity to speak to someone that is important in your life, that makes a difference in your life, you make things happen, right? You rearrange some things and you make it happen. And so that's what I was doing this morning. And I want to unpack this for you guys, the importance of building relationships and what it will do for you. And, what does it look like to be able to do that? Because I think that a lot of the world today, in the way that social media has kind of shifted things in our lives, has really shifted the way that people build relationships. And so I want to make sure that you guys understand, because I think that the example that's out there in a lot of cases is not a good example. There's a lot of surface level relationships out there, but there are not a lot of really great relationships with really authentic people that can really take you places. And so I want to make sure that you guys understand the difference between those, because I feel like a lot of what we see are people that are building, basically surface level relationships that they will make your life feel full in some way, but ultimately just doesn't have a lot of depth to it, and it won't actually take you to the places that you want to be. So we're going to unpack that a little bit, talk about how to build those deep relationships and what it looks like. But as always, I want to say good morning to everybody. What's happening, Dayton Packard? Good morning. Good to see you here again, brother. Ryan Austin, Gary, Scott, Daniel Good. What's happening, man? Rick, absolutely, brother. Go out like a lion today. Don't go out like a mouse. Austin, John Rugg, Randy, good morning to you guys, and thank you guys for being here. So, the importance of building relationships, and I said this when I opened the show this morning, I believe that it is everything in your life. How fast your life is able to go, how big your business is able to grow, how fast your income is able to multiply. Everything is really attached to how you build relationships and who you build those relationships with. And so for me in my life, I have been absolutely blessed to be able to build relationships with people that literally seemed untouchable to me. I just asked the person that I was talking to this morning. She was talking about some of the relationships that she's been able to build, and was mentioning some of the names, and they're like mind-blowing names. And I said, do you ever sit at these tables and wonder, like, how did you end up here? And she said, almost every single time I'm at one of these tables, I wonder how it was that I was able to get here. And I want to tell you guys how exactly you get there, because I feel like it's seems harder than it is. And I feel like so many people spend a lot of time building relationships at a surface level, and they don't have enough powerful relationships in their life. They don't take enough chances at those people who are really, influential, really can make a difference, and really genuinely care to mentor those that are, in their process of growing, right? On their way up, if you will. And so I want you guys to understand what that looks like, how to build those relationships. how it has been successful for me, and then what I see on the other side of, people trying to build those relationships with me that are doing it all wrong, right? And so I want to break that down for you. So if you're trying to build a relationship with someone that is very influential, like very high level, there's a couple of things that have been really successful for me in that process of building the relationship. Number one on the list, and don't take this lightly, and don't take this as just, oh yeah, this is lip service. Like this is really, really important. Like, you have to be authentic. Nobody wants to be sold. You have to be yourself. You have to be genuine, and you have to be willing to open yourself up and take that risk of potentially being shot down, right? For me, it has always been easy for me to be that way. I don't know why that is, but for me to be just myself with people, no matter how influential or powerful they are, it has come natural for me to be myself with people. And so I believe that builds trust a lot faster than most of the people who reach out to these folks, and they can automatically feel like these people want something from them. In reverse of that, instead of wanting something from them, try to figure out a way that you can build some kind of relationship and bring something to that relationship that might benefit them, whether it's positive words, whether it's telling them some of the things that they do that are helpful to them, that are helpful to you, like maybe the content that they put out, maybe a book that they have written, maybe a video that you watched that they said something that really made you look at things differently. But it's about finding a way to make a personal connection with a person that might seem out of reach. It is the coolest thing in the world that we have these connections via social media to be able to reach out to anybody. And it gets harder and harder, by the way, because people have, hundreds of thousands or millions of followers in some cases. And so, when you drop into their DMs or you send an email, the chances of them getting it, are just not as good. But you can do those things in conjunction with that. You can leave meaningful comments on their posts. You can constantly interact in places that they interact. So maybe they interact with another person. Maybe you see them commenting on another person's profile, and you can respond to that. And as you do that, with meaning, right, with real meaning, you are going to be able to build relationships with people that you at one point felt were untouchable. And so how do you gain people's respect in order to open these doors? This show has been an incredible way for me to be able to do that, and it's not just the content of the show. It's that number that's at the top of your screen today that says episode 471. When people see an individual that has been consistent, there's a higher level of trust there. So ask yourself, how consistent are you? How do you show up? Have you been following this person and truly studying what it is that they do? Have they become a true mentor to you? Or I mentioned, I'll teach you the things that people do that are negative. Or are you just a fanboy or a fangirl that is constantly interacting with someone, but not actually building a relationship? That's the question, because people want to interact with people that they feel an exchange with. They have enough fans, guys. Let's face it. They have enough people that admire them. How do you separate yourself? True differentiation when it comes to relationship building comes from authenticity, and it comes from putting in the work to build the relationship. I just talked to this person this morning about another relationship that we had that was mutual. And that relationship for both of us seemed to be more of a one-way street. And so when you talk about, the one-way street relationships, they just don't last the test of time. And so when you pay attention to these people that have a lot of turnover in their relationships, there's not a lot that last an extended period of time. And even those that do, they are still on the surface. There's not a lot of depth to their relationships. On the flip side, I've met some really, really famous people that have just dozens and dozens of really meaningful relationships with people. And so learn to sort that out and learn to check your fan opinion of them and actually look at the person who is this person that I'm trying to build a relationship with? Because over the period of time, you're going to actually learn who people are. You're going to see the real version of this person, not just the person that you put up in lights that you really admired and became a fan of, but truly who the person is, who the individual is. Are they a giver or not? Because not everybody's going to be. I hate to disappoint you guys, but some of the people that you look up to, those relationships aren't going to work out. But let me tell you this, it is absolutely worth it to build those relationships, to figure that out, to figure out who these people are. And when you get to those ones that are really, truly genuine people that really want to give as much as they receive or give more than they receive, all of the work that you put in building these relationships is worth it. But never be afraid to reach up. I said to this person I was talking to this morning about, how some of the rooms that I end up in, some of the conversations that I end up in, how uncomfortable they are because of, sometimes how out of my league I feel in some of these conversations, even though I understand I haven't been to the levels and the places that these people have been to. And she said, that's how you know you're in the right place. If it feels too comfortable, if you feel like you know what's going on, you're probably in the wrong room. And so ask yourself that. How often do you get in those places where there's such high level conversations going on, you have a hard time processing it? And that is how you grow, guys. Just one step at a time, reaching up and reaching up and reaching up and using those relationships that you have for the right reasons, right? To mutually benefit people. And when you give and you give and you give and you give, I promise you guys, it starts to come back to you in ways that you can't imagine. In the next month, you're going to see relationships that I have that I don't talk about. This is another thing that I believe people do wrong, and I've learned this over probably the past year, is that when people meet you for the first time and they instantly start to leverage the influence that you have for their own, that's a red flag. And so I have learned to not do that with the people that I meet. I've learned to not do that with the relationships that I form. I've learned to not put those relationships up in lights or overdo it when it comes to, how I comment or how I interact, but to actually have real relationships, just like you would in real life, that are meaningful. And I do that in an online in the same way that I would do in a normal setting if I was sitting next to these people, if I was interacting with them. So I try not to be a fan of people that I'm actually at the moment a fan of, right? I try to not act like a fan. And I learned this back in 2008, 2009. I had the opportunity to interact with a lot of professional hockey players in my previous life when I worked in corporate America. And what I learned from that experience was I learned to not treat those guys as a fan, right? And I went to hockey games. I'm a big hockey fan. And I got to be around these guys, and I just treated them like human beings, and I was able to build really great relationships with them. I didn't, however, right away take that skill and transfer it into this world of social media that we're in now, where we can build relationships faster than ever. But, you see so many people just being fans of other people and not building meaningful relationships. And I'm here to tell you guys, if you take this advice and you build meaningful relationships, your life is going to change in such a way that you can't imagine. And you will be in rooms and conversations and phone calls. It happened to me twice yesterday. I was on the phone with two people that are just incredibly successful and well-known. And that only happens because at this point in my life, I'm able to handle those relationships. I'm able to sit in those relationships and not, put them up in lights in public and try to leverage those people's influence to be my own. I just really genuinely appreciate the relationships and the people that are on the other side of them. And so I encourage you guys to think about that. What does that look like for you in your life right now? And some of this may be a few steps away from where you're at right now, but it works the same way regardless of where you're at, regardless of whether you're building, kind of first level relationships or very high level relationships, it works exactly the same. Be authentic, be real, be genuine, talk to these people as a person. Forget about who they are and what they've done. Maybe you have conversations about that stuff, about things that you're just genuinely curious about. But talk to those people like the human beings that they are. Ask questions about the things that they have done, not in a way of being a fan, but in a way of just being genuinely curious about how they've accomplished what they've accomplished. Some of the coolest things that they've been able to do in their life. What were those experiences like? Things like that. People love telling those stories. They love interacting with people, but they don't like just the basic questions that everybody asks them. And I talk about this a lot on, I get asked to do a lot of podcast interviews, and so many of them are just the canned podcast interview questions. But when I get on one that's really genuine and somebody has really done their homework on, what I've accomplished, what I've been through in my life, what I enjoy, what I don't enjoy, maybe they ask really great questions that are clearly have been researched. It changes that relationship. And I look at that person completely different. And so ask yourself how you can be that person on a day-to-day basis. How can you show up for people differently? How can you be the person that, other people want to interact with and want to be around? And when you do that, you're going to understand the importance of building these relationships, because what those relationships will do for you is incredible. And so that is one side of it. I'm going to quickly cover the other side of it. When you build relationships with those people who are trying to build relationships with you, like somebody that is trying to acquire a relationship with you, do the same thing. Be genuine. Listen to people. Give those people time that deserve it, and be present. And you will build the most amazing relationships. And as you do that, both directions, man, you start to build this community of people that really fill your life in a way that's indescribable. And, for me, man, it's the greatest joy of my life to be able to wake up every single day and know that I've just got some of the most incredible human beings, incredible people around me. And again, there's people that are worth a lot of money that I am able to interact with and be mentored from. And, and by the way, all of those people, more importantly than the money, are just great people. And then there are people that are just starting out that I have relationships with that are equally as great when it comes to values and principles. And I know that those people at the bottom are going to close the gap with those people that have a little bit more experience, have done a little bit more in their life. But that community of people, being able to take that community, that circle of people, and interconnecting all of those people, introducing Cisco to Austin and to Trisha and to Ryan Austin and to Todd, all of these people start to become friends on their own. And that community of people absolutely just multiplies the impact on every single person's life that's in it. And so as you upgrade your circle, never forget to upgrade the circle of those people that are part of it, because the rising tide lifts all the ships, right? And so my goal in life is to make these connections that allow those people who are in my life, that are in my circle, that pour into me and give to me and are part of our communities, to give them access to those same people. And it is an incredible thing to be able to do. When you start to be able to connect those people to each other, it is literally the greatest joy ever, man. Like I get calls almost every day now of people who I have introduced to each other, and now they have this great friendship. And it is such a joy to watch, man. It's such an incredible thing to be able to interconnect people that deserve to know each other, that belong together, that share values, that will help each other, that will support each other. And that, my friends, is what life is all about, in my opinion. And so the importance of building relationships should never be forgotten. Make sure you do that today. Make sure you reach out to those people that you haven't reached out to in a while, and spend some time today making a list of people that you really want to know, and try to figure out how do you build a relationship, and don't be in a hurry to do it. Be willing to wait years. There are people in my life now, man, that I worked for years and years and years to build relationships with. And I will tell you, in almost every case, it was well worth the wait. So with that said, guys, it is Friday. Make sure you go out like a lion today. Don't go out like a mouse. Go to the whistle today, man. I got date night with the wife and some friends today right at the end of the day. So I'll be leaving here, for those of you who are wondering, at 5 o'clock to go have some dinner with some friends. And then my high school tonight is playing in the WPIAL championship, and I'm headed down with my dad to the Peterson Event Center to the University of Pittsburgh to watch my high school hopefully win another WPIAL championship. This will be the second one in the last couple of years here. And those boys are just so fun to watch, man. So good luck to the Laurel Highlands Mustangs tonight. I will see you guys again Monday morning, same place, same time, right here on Morning Perspective. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Have an amazing Friday, and I'll see you Monday.
It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up.